Well, hello, you are watching GMODISM channel. This is your host Eric, and we are here in the Empire to showcase some builds. So I thought that this little thing with ducts was a pretty handy thing. So I have developed a set of duct armor for turrets. So basically, if you're a little bit new to the game, you may be very generally confused right now. So let me show you. Unfortunately, I didn't read anything more important than this yellow text here on this notepad, but I thought to write something interesting. By the way, Omicron, if you're watching, this is the full setup of the of the different porthole mimicry that I got inspired from your submission to the Game of Battles. But whatever, let's get going and check this out. When we build turrets, we need to armor said turrets. If we don't armor said turrets, they will die. So in the sub-objects menu, you have this thing, which basically shows you that this alloy turret will be able to fit in this metal box which can be on your ship, and that can thus be protecting your turret. Now, this is like the worst type of setup, but whatever. And if you would like to make this airtight, so you could kind of make this floaty, you could fill this area with light blocks, for example, and then you can have an air pump inside of here and stuff like that. You probably all know that. But if you don't need to have an air pump inside, if you don't need to make it like airtight, most people don't, since of course the light blocks are very expensive and also a little bit explosive, as I'm sure you are aware of. Let me show you how explosive they are, so you don't we don't need to be a bit too scared about them. You can see you have to like damage them pretty hard before they even start to chain react a little bit. So they're not super explosive. So don't be scared. Don't be scared about using them. Nevertheless, to make an armor that can withstand getting shot at, having heavy armor is naturally what people most oftenly make turrets out of. Each heavy armor beam here has 6000 health, which is great, but it also has a cost of 100. Thing is, if this gets through, the turret can be damaged. And some turrets can't be afforded to be damaged, basically. So let's say we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a 5x5 piece of armor protecting the turret. This consists of 5 heavy armor beams, which puts the cost at 600? Yeah, since we have 6 of them. So 600, that costs. If we instead went into our section, went to ducts and selected the 5x5 duct, this costs 1000. And now you may say, well, if this costs 600 and this costs 1000, this is obviously a very bad turret armor. Well, this is the thing. This thing weighs 3600 in total, and all of these together, what's that weight actually? We need a built-in calculator in From the Depth, just like Satisfactory has. That's really nice. Anyways, the total weight of the heavy beam slabs here is 4800, whereas this piece is only 3600. So it is a bit lighter. It is a bit more expensive, yes, but the health, this has a health of 22,000, which means if you shoot at this 5x5 duct with a, let's say you have an armor penetrating shell capable of dealing say 15,000 damage against heavy armor, right? that means that this block will not die. So that penetrative shell would fail to kill this duct, whereas it would kill this duct, 6,000, it has 10,000 left, and it could continue. It could actually kill 2 of these, even if you have double, it could kill both of them, and go through and damage the turret. And maybe it's a belt-fed APS turret. Well, it's not gonna have ejectors, it's not gonna have EADs, it's gonna go up in flames. And here is where the duct comes in. It's a bit more expensive, but it will save your ass. It will save that one-shot damage. And that is the basis behind making this little collection of turret armor. So, if we only use ducts, we are going to be able to provide a pretty strong sheet. And if you look at these metal ducts, they are pretty strong too, and the wooden ducts, they're pretty strong too. But the metal ducts in particular, they have good armor. Like this 7x7, this costs 400, but it has a health of 10,000. So it will actually stop a lot of shells. Then we of course need to make turret armor based on the different designs here. You can see I've spawned my little turret template thing here, or the compact version of it. This is actually the Imgur variant. That's probably gonna disappear sometime, but whatever. I do host a version on GMODISM.com too. A page you should check out if you haven't already, of course. You have links to all our downloadable assets and communities and stuff there, so that can be useful. In any case, I have pieced together designs for duct turret armor from D5. Actually, this is D5. We have D3 here as well. So we have D3, we have D5. This is also like, actually, what is that? That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I think I've saved down a correct version of that. I hope I need to check that. I actually saved them down, by the way. That's this is a showcase. The D9, we have a D11, we have D13, 15, 17, the largest in-game variant, 19, and even 21. And then I also start to build on some light models here. Here you can see we got an overlapping pattern for the expensive 3x3. The green, we're using the Army of GMODISM standard colors, which is on the platform and on stuff. And the green is supposed to face forwards or face towards the direction we expect to be fired at. So it has more armor on one of the sides, on some of the sides than others. So they are directional, that is. Of course, one can make them non-directional too. This is kind of a minimal 5x5. And as you see here, we move up and we basically try to keep the integrity. So now I kind of messed up with doing this little up-down shift here. Let's see here. Let me actually restore this. Yeah, I just spawned a new one, but whatever. You can see inside of here, we have kind of minimal connection points here so that the connections won't break too easily, but we're not also using too much materials. It's smart to use as large ducts as possible because of course we want to cover the largest surface as possible, but we basically piece together 7x7, 5x5, 3x3 to an interesting pattern. We're gonna use one sheet of heavy armor ones to the front, and then we're gonna go and get metal on the backs to kind of save a little bit on the cost, because this turret armor is of course very, very thin, but it is it's kind of expensive. Now we can also fill in areas here and so on, but the reason why we even do this is that we want them to be a little bit lighter. We want them to be a little bit easy to set up like this. So here you can see I start with a sheet of metal in front of it because it's much cheaper, and we need something so that the heavy armor ones don't take the blunt of the force directly. So I really try to make an interesting offset to make it as optimal as possible, I hope. That is the plan behind all this in any case. Together with this, I started to think, let us develop some turret bases. So here we have some turret bases. Here we have a light version, and here we have a heavy version. And for these, I basically want to have a large connection point, like covering the entire side here. So we do have some heavy armor to take that AP, and then we are standing. We make the turret stand on a heavy armor duct, because then it means that the block the turret is standing on is going to be pretty hard to kill, because if you kill that block, of course, the turret will go down. And when it comes to one-axis turret, you only have one connection point anyways, and explosive damage or stray frag can kill it. But even though this has a larger surface area, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to be that hit on it very fast. Or that's the theory, at least. We're going to test that in battle, of course. We're going to see in future ships we make how effective this will actually be. Then I started to develop some turret bases for larger turrets. So if we, for example, go in here and have a 3x3 turret, that would be advisable to a larger system like this. It is not smart that the entire turret stands on one. So if this gets killed, it still has two very high health blocks and a extra little block here in the middle to stand on, which makes it very resilient. Adding some surge protector to that around it will make it so that EMP stuff hitting the turret will not go further. Good to have that kind of little backup, because of course the EMP surges can go through the node of the turret axis. It can't jump from the turret down to the base immediately, it needs to go via the turret axle. So that's smart that we outline it a little bit with these. So I made them fit inside the different shapes here, and I didn't make them for super large one. I feel that this is probably like the maximum size we kind of need. I then started, of course, liking this idea, to make super cheap, lightweight version of this armor, where we have, instead of having heavy armor, we have alloy for the expensive pieces, which is of course very light, but this has 9,000 health. So if we have like this and this, it's going to be pretty hard to make this turret full of its connection points. And as with them all here, I'll need to check. I hope I didn't save it like that. I think I saved it in a better way. Well, we're going to see. It's basically the same, but the metal is replaced with wood. Fortunately not automatically, I had to do it manual. And the wood ones, as said, these like 7-meter ones, 5,000 health is pretty good if you pay 80 materials. So yeah, won't withstand super heavy blasts, but really good as a really basic armor for airships and stuff like that. Yeah. At least lets you have some sheet of protection to not a too high of a price for larger turrets. So I thought that was a pretty neat little setup. I'm gonna give you a little preview here. We're gonna activate the Vibes Dome. There we have it. Atmos Dome activated. Beautiful. So we are going to just load in them so you can see them here. And these files are recently updated, so now you will, the commissioned officers, you'll have access to this. Yeah, that we should say, totally. Huge thanks to all the commissioned officers in the army of GMODISM. Captain, Awesome Papa, Commanders Ben, Wilkin, Delphin, Lieutenants Ali, Anto, Creevy, Flowers, Dagan, Daniel, Saikin, Owen, Parbagreed, Vincent Veritas, Rick Perel, Scuba Rocks. And of course, all our cadets and the ECCLESIARCHY of GMODISM YouTube members, you have early access to videos, and of course to, if anyone joined the government of GMODISM, if not, check out gmodism.com. So here we have the turrets. We begin from T3, and we have duct 5, duct 7, so that's kind of the basis of the ducts we have used. This is thus a directional system like that. And they can of course be stacked on top of each other. They are a little bit limited in how high they can be. So the weird thing is that when we use these, we'll have to think a little bit. Well, this one here, going like this, so we can stack it on top of each other. These are like the heavy ones. They go up, as said, to T21, turret width 21, like that. Very, very neat. Actually, I should activate. Let's show another little preview. Let's have the compact toggle here, so you can see that it indeed should fit. Now, I will agree it may be a little bit different to find the middle on these. Yeah, there we have it. That is that one. Well, then we go over to the light variants. So here we have a light variant of the ducted, so it's really thick on the front here. It's pretty well armored. I made two versions of the T5. So there we have that one, and you can see, very nice. That's the T3. Well, when we go up to the different iterations, T11 light, like that, as you saw before, they are neatly saved into the folder. Oh, look at that. Very nice. I remembered to resave these in a way that it actually works for this. Now, the interesting thing is that when we use this system, I also designed some hardpoints. So let's... oh, and I did also design budget variants. So this is budget variants of turret hardpoints. So you see we only use wood and stone and just one block of heavy armor. It's like... I don't know if it's so much budget that it's actually worth it, but I'm kind of thinking it's better than nothing. This is of course for a big turret, so a 5x5 turret will make this have not only this middle metal piece but also the surrounding alloy ones. Well, these are my turret hardpoints in any case. So this is for D11, so I'm going to show you now how I thought this were supposed to work here. So if we have a D11 turret here, something like that, and we have this turret of a fixed height. So then we'll load in the D11 hardpoint light, right? And it's built to fit inside. I chose the wrong one. There we go. It's built to fit inside of this, as you can see. So basically, if the turret needs to start from like there, to be able to reach the top, then we can spawn that there, and these blocks down here will just be a little bit extra. So yeah, that's kind of the trade-off you'll have to do if this goes up to the deck like this, and you'll have the decking here, and yeah, the turret starts to stick out there, and yeah. And if you wonder why I don't do turret necks, well, watch some more Gimle battles, please. If not, too long didn't watch, it's a lot of battles. I can just tell you that sometimes explosives in this game has a weird tendency to kind of not work as it's supposed to work. And explosive damage can sometimes leak, and then it can mean that you'll die anyways, even though you shouldn't have died in a certain scenario. Well, in any case, I also did a 5-meter block plinth. So for really large turrets, where you want a lot of health on that turret block, you want it almost to be impossible to kill, well, then perhaps it can be a good idea to spend those 13,000 materials, or in this case less, but yeah, to really make it hard to kill you. Got a little small turret hardpoint as well, utilizing some sides there. Yeah, and that's basically that. That is my little system of duct armor for turrets, why we've used them, and while you see them in some future videos. So if you want to make some duct armor for your turrets, feel free to get inspired. Well, and with that said, I'll just say big thanks for watching. Please like the video if you haven't already, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again. This is your host Eric of GMODISM, and I'm signing out. Bye.